Hey guys, this is Eduardo with EM Real Estate Team. Today, what I wanted to talk about is investment properties and what are some of the requirements that most lenders require regarding, trying to obtain a multi-unit property. And I'm going to talk about the 1 to 4 unit property. Once you get into the 5 units, that's commercial. That's another video that I will be doing in the future. But for right now, one of the biggest differences between an owner occupied property and an investment property is that the down payment requirement, which is 25% versus 3.5 or 10% for conventional. And a lot of people always ask me, hey, Eduardo, so where am I going to obtain 25% down for an investment property? That's a lot of money for me to gather up. I understand that, but that's the biggest hurdle. You have to figure that part out as far as looking at your resources. Maybe you have family members that can lend you the money. Maybe you have a 401k that you can tap into. Another thing is you maybe possibly have a owner occupied property that you currently live in that you can possibly refinance and pull out that 25% so you can invest it into a rental unit. So as far as that, and there is different lenders as far as private money and hard money lenders. Hard money, that's something that I would not recommend for someone that's just starting, because of the interest rates. The interest rates are really high. I've heard some hard money going up to 16%. I personally have never used a hard money lender just because on properties that I've tried to purchase, just because it doesn't make financial sense for me. But if you find a property where it makes sense using, that hard money, then by all means, you should move forward with it. But I would really look at other resources before going that route. And as far as FICO score, I know from my personal experiences, I've contacted maybe, different lenders have different requirements. I do understand that. But what I noticed was 680 was the lowest that most lenders would do on a multi-unit. They wanted 680, 700 at the minimum. And if they did anything below that, the interest rates were really high where it just didn't make financial sense, or they wanted a higher down payment, which would, affect my ROI, which is my return on my investment. If it, a return on your investment, if a property doesn't give you the cash flow to pay that down payment that you came up with within 3 to 5 years, I hardly, I would not recommend that. If it takes you 10 years, 15 years to get your down payment that, you gathered up, then that property is really not a great deal. And I would hold off and continue looking for the next deal that makes more financial sense. And as far as, like I mentioned, the lenders, there's so many lenders out there that everyone kind of makes up their own rules as they go, but most of them have the same requirements as far as 1 to 4 units. So once you get into commercial, it different factors come into play. But like I said, I'll mention that in another further video that I'll do in the future. But for now, those are the main basics. Biggest differences, I guess, between purchasing owner-occupied property and multi-unit property. But if you have any questions and you want to get into it, you know, everybody's situation is different. Everybody's financial situation is different. So what I would recommend is to give me a call. My phone number is 805-807-6066, and maybe we can talk it over and see what we can do to get you to obtain one of those multi-units so you can start cash flowing and hopefully, purchase more properties with that cash flow that you're obtaining on a month-to-month basis. But that's what I wanted to talk about today. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. Thank you.